speaking of writing, you are, now a lot of writers will say, I kind of want to shift into the writing thing, so I'm happy you brought that up. You are an extremely gifted writer. This is agreed upon across the globe. And a very humble person when that's mentioned. Like, I don't know how else to say it, but your humility behind your ability is wonderful. So we really trust you when it comes to this topic. And at least I do. And a lot of people who have mentioned, different things like, oh, I noticed that when they see us leading together and stuff, and they've asked me lots of questions, what does he do for this? And what does he, and I'm like, guys, I don't like sit down and like grill him of like, so what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? What's your trick in the trade? And what do you do? I'm like, it's very not that way. We're very busy. So like it is, now I get the chance to ask. And I guess, so my question to you is this. So the first question, a lot of people will say that you should never write alone. It shouldn't just be you. You should always have someone there because that's just your opinion. It's just your way. And you're never going to really breach outside of yourself. I think a lot of people would agree that wouldn't be a good thing to do all the time. To maybe branch out. But what is your suggestion on that, or kind of belief in your approach to writing in regards to by yourself or with other people?
Yeah, I mean, I would never say like don't write alone, or like, make sure you always have somebody else that's like writing with you, because I mean, for me personally, I am always writing with other people, and I like having that one or two people to bounce ideas off of and to throw around, does this idea suck? Like, be honest, having that is like good for me, but that's not for everybody. I would say if you're writing for church, if you're writing for like your home, that you could write a song by yourself totally, and then like share it with people, share it and make sure like, is this connecting? Is this just speaking to me, or is it connecting, to my pastors and to my leaders? And then ultimately, like, is it connecting with my people and the people that I'm serving?
Yeah.
And so I love the collaborative process just across the board. I love collaboration. I love working with others. And so if you're a songwriter that's, I always encourage you, like, write with other people, work that muscle. But if you don't write well with other people, like, write by yourself and then share it with other people, and then get like feedback and say like, what do you think of this? Is this any good? Because we can get like siloed off in our own opinions and our own thoughts, but I think like as a church, we're all like a community that's like working together and doing stuff together. Agreed. And so I lean into that.
Agreed. Who is one of your favorite? I know we don't want to like pin people out or whatever, but is there just somebody you're like, man, every time we write together, it's just like, we just click. Is there just anybody that you just have like in your circle?
I mean, there's so many, I feel so like lucky to get to write with like so many awesome writers.
Yeah.
One person that sticks out is Pat Barrett, is a guy that I write with a lot, who has written just like some of my favorite songs to lead personally. And I don't know, there's just always something like, we're kind of cut from the same cloth a little bit in the way that we write and how songs that inspire us. We always kind of make jokes that me and him can write the heck out of like some B-sides. Like we're just like, like every song that we write, we love, and we just think like, this is the best song I've ever written. And it's like always like just kind of like a B-side, like it's never like a single. But they always like minister to me, and they always like touch me. And so like I'm always drawn. I was on the phone with him earlier today talking about a song that he's releasing that we worked on. And it's just like, it's such a chill, beautiful song.
Yeah.
That I'm like, I don't know if this song is like a hit or anything, but it really ministers to me and I love it. So Pat's one of those writers for me that every time like we're just always on the same page. Yeah, he's awesome.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Find your people, guys. Get out there and find your people and stick with them, because it's awesome. And also, I think it's neat what you said too. It's like, I don't know if this is gonna be anything special, like, or if it's gonna be anything like a hit or whatever, but like you still write it and you still get into it, because you're not the ultimate goal, right?
I think that's important. Yeah, and especially for worship music and for
Mm-hmm.
songs for the church is, like you want to write a song that's like sound and that it's good
Yeah.
and that it has like lifts and all the dynamics that kind of draw us to music. But it's impossible to think of like this song is gonna be a banger, that's like
Yeah.
gonna be like it's gonna hit so hard. Like it really is like near impossible to determine that,
Yeah.
especially like in worship music, because you don't know like what's gonna touch people, and what's gonna like really really like connect.
Right.
um I don't know.
What they're
Yeah.
what people
Now
are.
Pat, like on the other hand, also like writes like some of like the best smash like hits that like we've sang at the church, and so like that, like he
Yeah,
he
you're
could
like
also
in
do
his
that too.
case.
uh yeah. Right, yeah.
I don't know if that applies to him because, like, in his case, I'm sure he's had his days where he's like, "What? Are you kidding me? This isn't the one that hit off." That's crazy. That's
Right,
really fun,
right.
though. That's good. Well, what do you tell people who feel really deeply called to worship leading or songwriting, but they're kind of afraid to approach it just because they're unsure? I know for a long time now, I feel like I have freedom to do that, but for a long time, I kind of felt a little bit afraid of pursuing something because I didn't understand all the ins and outs, all of the little things, like the tedious things that sometimes have to go through, like who's going to be your publisher and how do you copyright this and how do you how do you take care of your music, but you don't want to be greedy, but you don't want to play the whole like, well, we're all Christians here, we're all believers here, like
Yeah.
you gotta, business is business. But how do you find that? What do you tell somebody who's kind of like stuck in that place?
Man, I think this piece of advice is going to be like an annoying piece of advice. I'll just go ahead and preface it with that.
Do it anyway.
But the biggest thing, like, is if you feel like you're called to write songs, you've got to write songs, and you've got to just do it, and you've got to do it all the time, and
Yeah.
work on that muscle all the time.
That's great.
And like you look at even some of your favorite songwriters, like the person that comes to my mind is Jason Ingram, is like a songwriter that I write with a ton. And if you were to look at all the songs that he's written that have had like a massive impact on the church, like you'd be blown away. Like he's had such a strong voice in worship music,
Yes.
but he's also written so many songs that you've never heard of, or he's also written so many songs
That's great.
that he's never even released,
Yeah.
but he's just committed to writing all the time. And
Yeah.
that's one of the things. I mean, you could go down the list for all of our favorite songwriters, Joel Houston, Matt Redman, everybody, like the amount of songs that come out of them that we actually never hear or are never like big songs. It's endless, but they keep showing up to do it,
Sure.
and because songwriting is in their heart and it's in their spirit and they got to get it out,
Yeah.
and it really is like, it's like working out a muscle where you have to work out every day or every week, or, how often as you can, because that's the only way that you're going to grow as a
Right.
songwriter. That's the only way that you're going to like move forward as a songwriter. And so you just have to do it.
Yeah.
And that's like, that's hard because it is scary. Like writing a song is scary, and putting yourself out there is
Yeah.
scary, especially if you're like co-writing with other people and you like share an idea and they give you a look like, oh, that's an awful idea. Like
Yeah,
it's
that's
embarrassing,
not
and
for
it's
me.
vulnerable and it's crazy, but it's just you have to be comfortable with that. You have to get comfortable with that
Yeah.
and just doing it. There's so many times that I've been in songwrites that I feel like, man, today I'm just like dry. Like I don't feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm bringing anything to the table, and the few ideas that I have, I feel like are lame, and
Yeah.
I don't even I want to like stay quiet, but I keep showing up and I keep like putting out those ideas and just throwing them against the wall.
That's
And
great.
you never know what's going to come out.
And don't you think that a lot of it can come from your time with the Lord? Like when you're in prayer with God and when you're reading in scripture and you're seeing who he is, a lot of that really does start to kind of shave off some of the things that come in our way that sort of block us from being able to fully move forward. And I have noticed, I don't, and tell me kind of what you're feeling on this, but notice that like there's some things I care a lot less about when I'm deeper and deeper in the Word, when I'm more surrounded and sitting in
Oh,
His
for
Spirit
sure.
and resting in Him, that it isn't just that church talk or like that lingo that's there. It's like it truly is a tangible, real. I'm holding on to the hands of my Father, and I really am saying, I don't care what they say. I I'm doing this out
Yeah.
of obedience or whatever. So I think the more you spend time with your Creator, you realize that like Jesus came to give you life and life abundantly, and that abundance comes as well in that writing time or in your fears. He lets you sort of release, you fully surrender, those fears to Him. What are your thoughts
Yeah,
on
there are
that? Yeah.
definitely times. Yeah, there's definitely times that I've had conversations with my wife, or I'm talking with somebody. They might be asking me like advice, and I have like two answers where I'm like, well, if I'm in a spiritually healthy place, this is how I feel about that.
Yeah.
When I'm in a spiritually unhealthy place, then all my insecurities come out, or all my anxieties come out.
Well
And
said.
that's just so like, that's such an accurate thing is when I'm at a spiritually healthy place and in like healthy relationship with Jesus and constant communication with him and constantly like digging into his word or
Yeah.
receiving stuff from him, man, my so many aspects of my life are better.
Sure.
And are more under control of like just like that spiritual health and that
Yeah.
emotional health. And then I can very much sense like the times that I feel distant or the times that I haven't been disciplined about something, man, all like crazy thoughts get in your head,
Sure.
or you get anxious a lot easier, or you get more insecure about stuff. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, that's totally accurate.
Okay. Well, and even too, that might even lead into answering that question too that comes in that we get about what do I do? How do I pursue this? What is the afraid? Like if I'm afraid to do this and this, I would think pray about where the Lord has you and ask God to bring the right people in your path, because there are and you can like look up all kinds of stuff too in regards to what does being a publisher mean? What does copywriting your song look like? We've got, there's what is it, BMI, ASCAP. We got all kinds of things that you can look into
That's
and
so easy. All that
to
stuff, like, don't
secure
stress
your
about that
songs.
stuff. That stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it might seem complicated and it is like confusing at some point, but
Yeah,
like,
you're
don't
right.
let that ever be like
That's what
a
it is. It just
hindrance to you, because
sounds
that's,
scary, but it's not.
yeah. But you can figure that stuff out. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I
easy.
think we have tons. It's like, well, then how does he secure his music and how does he keep it so this isn't this? And then I was even doing a workshop the other day and they're just like, okay, we have all this writing time. And now it's like, everybody's like, well, what do we do with these songs and where do they go? And how do you do this? The logistics and the kind of those kinds of things. Yeah, you should talk about them. Those should be established and get those down. Do your research. You can do that. There's a lot of easy ways to find that out. What's a resource for somebody to kind of just go into that to say, hey, this will help me kind of see the music world and how to get started into securing their songs or whatever that it might be. What do you,
Yeah, I
do you
mean,
have any like,
you said it, like there's like BMI, there's ASCAP, like you can go on their websites and like just check out like how to sign up, pay the fee to become a writer with them, or to, submit your songs to them just for
yeah,
copyright purposes.
yeah,
And even, like have an entertainment lawyer that like you set
that's
aside some
good.
funds to like have a
Yeah,
conversation with them and to learn like, here's what I need to do, and do the steps to just kind of
yeah,
move forward. But I would say like focus more on just the art of what you're doing and the actual tangible, like sitting down, writing
yes,
songs, working on those,
that's great.
moving
That's
forward with
great.
that, and figure out all the other stuff later.
That's great. That's great. Thank you. So last question, because I know we ran out of time here. So man, we just can go forever. It's fantastic.
I tend to
I've
babble
been
on and on.
That's okay. It's great. All of it is fantastic. I love it. There was a time when I think I don't know what song it was. I was leading some song, and you had just finished your song, and then I don't know if we were sharing it maybe or what. I don't know. I can't remember what we were doing, and I I was feeling very, very like a lot had happened that day. I think we had a family member had passed away. It was a tough day. And I had just come into rehearsal and nobody knew about what was going on. I had just come in and it was coming to work and doing all that. And then we were leading and we got everything set up and you had no clue about this. And then we're on the platform, we were singing on stage and we're sitting there and it was about ready for me to start my song. And I remember just saying, like, everything that happened, like, I'm singing this out of me as well. This is all going to be coming out as I'm singing this worship song. And I look over, and you're standing there, like, I don't know what you were thinking, but like, you were looking at me like, I believe in you. Like, there was like this look of like we're all here as one body, and you had no clue what was going on in my life, but there was like this prayerful presence that you had, and you were present in the moment, and you were worshiping in that song. And I had the like, it refocused my brain of like, we're all here together. My spirit is with you, Father. I've committed it into your hands, and we're doing this song together, and we're all going with something. We all bring something, whatever kind of luggage, baggage that it looks like. Everybody in this place brings something. And that was so encouraging to me, because there was something about that prayerful presence, and that you had, that you showed an example when you're not leading a song, that you're very much so a leader. You're very much so still leading, but you're leading from behind, or you're with the crew as a whole. We all are going in this together. And it made me, I thought about, oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, that is how I lead. Like, I do feel that we are like all in it together, and somebody, there can be like a point person that's like leading the song or singing the words and trying to lead the people, but we're all the musicians are in it together. We're all leaders together.
Yeah.
We all carry authority together.
Yeah.
And so like, I am like very much lead from a place of that, of, you know, we're in this together.
Yeah.
We all have a calling. We all have authority. We all have an anointing that we're like stepping into when we're on that stage. And so
and I
want to deposit that not only to the vocalists and to the musicians, but like deposit that out into the room, like as we're leading.
Yes. And I encourage those of you who are listening to know that whatever part you play on your teams, and if you're not on a worship team, but you do music, solo music, or you're doing music somewhere else, or you're a musician, you're not a singer, but you're doing something else, you're a writer, you're a producer, whatever that it is, your part is so vital in everything. And it's just living proof everywhere that you go that God uses all of us together. And it reminded me of what you're going through. It reminded me, hey, Mack's got stuff going on at home too. He's got a busy life. He's got things going on. You guys are doing foster care stuff. Just because, you know, on Instagram and stuff, sometimes you'll post pictures of your precious family, and you've got little Z in there, and he's been around for a little bit. And I remember when I had first met you, you guys were just starting. He had just come to your house. They had called you or something, and you're like, yeah, we have this little guy, and he's precious, and you know, so that was really cool. And now to see time to always be ready and willing to say, God, whatever you want. You guys are always constantly with open hands, you know. But you're bringing that into when you're leading worship, when you're writing songs. It all plays a part. So how do you manage kind of that as which was my final question, is in what you're going through in your personal life, how does that sort of become a filter through what you're writing and when you're singing? Does it distract you, or how do you keep it from distracting you and you stay focused?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's all connected. I think I'm naturally going to write about what the Lord is teaching me, or I'm going to naturally write about what season I'm in life, or things that I need to speak to myself, or things that I need to be encouraged with.
Right.
That's going to naturally come out of me. At the same time, I've also tried to be careful not to filter everything that the Lord is depositing into me as like, ooh, this would make a good worship song.
That's
or this
great.
would make a good leadership teaching point. Like a lot of times, like just try to receive it, try to, you know, whatever the Lord is doing in my life, just kind of be aware of it and receive it, and receive it with my wife and have conversations, and not let it totally filter into like, how am I going to use this?
That's fantastic.
As a ministry thing, or, you know, but it naturally is going to come out, and it's naturally going to filter out into what I do, just because of life, you know, because that's the way life works.
And you let it.
And
You're letting it too. I think that's good.
Yeah.
But you're also, like you said, you're putting that filter on there, which is good because that's Holy Spirit conviction too. God's like, hold on a second. Let's not So that's awesome. That's great. That's great. Oh man, I could just talk forever. You're like, yeah, but I gotta go. So
this is awesome. I've loved it. I've loved
Mack,
hanging with you.
You're so great. It's great to talk to you. It's great to see you. It's been too long, man. Too long. But it's wonderful. And thank you. Thank you so much. And we just send our love to Meredith and to Harvey and to Cyrus and Lil Z. And we just thank you guys for everything that you do and all the work that you put into life that people just see on the outside. But there's a lot going on behind closed doors. I mean, there's laundry, there's cooking, there's cleaning, there's your TikTok roundups.
I'm on my way to pick up my kids from school right now.
I know,
that's the most important thing. TikTok roundup.
Yes, it is. So there's that. But anyway, if you guys want to go follow Mack, feel free. He's on Instagram, Facebook. He's all over the place. We'll put stuff on the bottom. Also, go listen to his new song, Just Like You've Always Done. I hope that encourages you as much as it encouraged me, for sure. And we can't wait to hear and see all of the things that you're doing. We support you. We're standing behind you. You are awesome. Keep up the good work. Hey, guys. Thanks for joining us today. I am Tamra, and you are listening to Quality Tam. If you or anyone you know would like to sponsor a show, visit QualityTam.com. Remember to like and subscribe and follow Quality Tam on Facebook and Instagram.
Chill, bro. Quality Tam.